Hello, and welcome to Stroke by Stroke. This is only going to be a speed painting because I am working with a brand new microphone that I have to learn how to use it, and the original audio in this was absolutely terrible. But all of the steps are here. And I used a combination of several materials. There I'm using a turkey baster to blow the air. These are alcohol inks. That was supposed to be white, but I didn't realize it was actually pearl, and the texture of it turned out terrible. And there I am. I do a lot of the 91% isopropyl alcohol. I have it in that little bottle that I'm spraying. And using the turkey baster like that just about killed my hands. But I had a good time doing this image, and the colors that I have used so far are wild plum and denim, and then the pearl as well. But yeah, feel free to sit back, relax, and just watch. I think that I did this at 4 times speed. I didn't want it to go so fast that you couldn't see what was happening. But without the original audio, yeah, it's it's a long one if there's not something to really listen to. But and here you can see how the alcohol allows for the colors to flow more easily. And yeah, so I'm gonna let you to it here, and I will be back on speaking as I might need to. So enjoy. Here you can see how I am using the isopropyl alcohol in a different way. So sometimes I spray it, and sometimes I use a pipette and add it that way. And because my hands were killing me, I decided to go ahead and just start using the hairdryer. I think I am going to purchase one of the alcohol ink blowers that you can get. They're between $10 to $15 a piece, I think. And that was gold mixative that I had added right there. And I think the mixatives are more like acrylic, and this is sandal colored alcohol ink. And as I usually do, you will see this painting go through several stages before it hits the final form. As I'm watching this back, I think this is just absolutely lovely. It looks like a very abstract sunflower. And that is Higgins ink. And honestly, I haven't researched it at all. I found it in some of my my partner who had passed away. I found it in some of their the stuff that was left behind. So this is the first time I've used it. and I will use another ink that I'm not familiar with, but they didn't act the same. In fact, this is that other ink, and I can't remember what it was called, but I think it's a quill ink. It was not necessarily intended to be used this way. And I started using the spray bottle with isopropyl alcohol and the hairdryer at the same time. And so here you'll see the next bit of this video is going to be a lot of attention set on the corners, and that was copper mixative, and it doesn't act like alcohol ink at all. And you can see that right here. It's just so thick, and it could be because it's so old, but yeah, that's all right. Whenever something goes in a way that I'm not expecting, or in a way that I don't like as much, I just keep going until I come up with something that I actually like. Yeah, I can't tell if that was alcohol ink that I added or liquid watercolor, because I do use liquid watercolor in this image, and but I was yapping and didn't see what it was. And if it isn't, oh, there I go with the sandal again, and using the pipette. But if I say something the wrong, that it's the wrong thing that I say, I'll fix it in like a little text thing. Now this is definitely, that is black Artfinity liquid watercolor. So, and I'm using alcohol with watercolor, liquid watercolor, and I know that they aren't necessarily meant to be together, but that's never stopped me before. Oh, and a fun, interesting thing that I have learned, all of the art that I've been doing is actually making a huge difference, because July 15th, it was the second anniversary of when I had a gun put to my head. And ironically, it was the first anniversary of having my divorce go through. And that was gold alcohol ink, the mixative that I put in there. So anyway, I forgot about those anniversary dates, and it wasn't until yesterday or the day before, I think, that I even thought about it. But it's interesting because I've been thinking a lot about the anniversary, the second anniversary of moving into my trailer that I call Haven's Rest, and that I've been thinking a lot about. So it's kind of interesting how my brain is rewiring from trauma as, like a PTSD spiral or something, as the first thing that I think of, to something that is positive and peaceful and really about me, and not about something that has happened, to me. And I think that's really important. And I really think that doing art is a large part of that. It's not everything. And here I've just added the wild plum and denim again, and the isopropyl, because I'm trying to get things to kind of blend together a little bit. And here in a little bit, you'll see how it just completely changes. Yeah. So I do very much believe that the mental health team I have, my therapist and my psychiatric nurse practitioner, have been wildly helpful to me in all these processes. And so, yeah, it is possible to move on and not hold the trauma. But I had to go through the trauma first. And I think that finding the, and I'm using a lot of the saddle color alcohol ink. I did it in the corners, and now I did it in the middle. So it's starting to look a bit less like a sunflower at this point. Almost stained glass-like. And that was denim that I put in. And of course the isopropyl. And there's the wild plum again. So yeah, working on your mental health, getting the correct medications, because I started taking dexmethylphenidate Focalin for my ADHD, and it has made a huge difference. I can now access my own coping skills. For a long time, I couldn't do that. So, yeah, I think just everything in my life right now is taking me. Oh, and there I'm using the sprayer, the top of the sprayer. The little stem, and I'm just dotting some alcohol because it makes those just lovely circles. But yeah, don't give up on yourself if you're dealing with emotions that feel like they're going to go on forever. It's very much a process. And there's that sandal color again, and of course I used my fingers. In almost all of my paintings, I will ditch brains. No, that might be true too. I will ditch the brushes and things like that and just go with my fingers. So I don't mind going around with stained pans. It doesn't bother me at all. But I don't have a quote-unquote job. This is basically my job. I don't get paid for it, and I'm okay with that, actually. I think sharing this process, I do the process for me. Sharing it, I'm doing that because I think that art is so important in the healing arena. And I wanted to share my journey with healing through art. Yeah. So, at several points, like, this doesn't look terrible. And here we go. Now it's going to take a complete left turn. That is a combination of matte craft paint and pouring medium and silicone oil and water. I just put them all together in that little bottle and shook them. together and put it, and I'm learning how to use the palette knife. I don't want to do poured images necessarily, but I do like it when it does the cells and stuff like that. But I prefer to use, as you can see, the palette knife. And you will see that it develops cells. They're small cells, but they're cells. So I'm learning how to do these my own way. And nothing at all wrong with pouring, making images with pouring paint. But that wasn't my goal. So I think in the corners too, I may have put just straight, there you go. Now you see the cells. I think at some point I put just silicone oil in the corners. And I think I may have already done it in this picture, but I'm not sure. And I put the black liquid watercolor on top of all that too. So that's what's making those cells. And yeah, I've never seen anybody do that before, but why not? You know, the worst thing that could happen would be, you know, I come up with an image that doesn't look so good, you know, but I don't through that words. I don't view that as a waste of art supplies, because I'm learning as I'm doing it, and there is just an inherently healing aspect of just moving pigments around. So even if it doesn't go the way I want, oh yeah, that's I think that's the blue violet liquid watercolor. See, and I like doing the layers like this because even though you can't see the original stuff I put down that looked like a sunflower and then stained glass and whatever, you can see it's sort of bleeding through a little bit. And to me, that's exciting. So, and, you know, as I'm getting to know the palette knife, I'm learning when to just barely skim across it. And that was water that I sprayed there, because I know that the liquid watercolor does interesting things when you spray it with water. But sometimes just, and there's the alcohol ink, just moving the palette knife, just barely touching, like right there. I was truly just barely touching it. And other times I have to use more pressure. And I'm learning a little bit about what works for that and what does not. And you can see here, I've basically kind of like made a, what do you call it? Line in the sand almost. You know, I am defining that corner as a shape. And here I'm using some of that Higgins ink. I think that may be the only time right there that I actually use a paintbrush in this image, but yeah. Because this image started feeling to me like it was about, you know, something was birthing, was starting. And I started thinking about, like, you know, the Big Bang Theory. And, you know, at one point, that was just straight silicone oil right there. But at what point does something stop being one thing and become another? So if you think about how a human comes into being, you have an egg and you have sperm, and they're two different things. But when you combine them together, you get something completely different. You get a whole human being, you know. And for some reason, those kinds of thoughts started coming up to me in this image. So, yeah. But I just really had a good time, getting to know these materials, what they would and wouldn't do, what looked good, what didn't look good to me. And of course, everybody is going to see that differently. But yeah, I'm very happy experimenting. And I realize that, not a lot of artists do that necessarily. I mean, a lot do, but not everyone. Sometimes people just want to make something that looks the way they want it to look. And that's great. That's absolutely great. I'm just too into chaos, I guess. So, yeah. Well, I'm going to let you watch me finger paint for a while. And if I need to come back in, I will. One of the things I really like about working in so many layers is you can see what I'm doing right here. I am moving the top pigments to let the stuff underneath kind of show. And to me, that's just absolutely exciting. And I let that dry, and this is what it looked like after it dried. And I let it dry naturally. And now I start using pan pastels. And pan pastels, I'm sure I'm going to use them again fairly soon. But pan pastels are little pucks of compressed pastel. And you'll see here I'm using what looks like an eyeshadow applicator. There's a whole bunch of different little tools you can get to do this. And before I started using the pastels, I had, after the image completely dried, I put some spray fixative over it, and you'll see me, that's what I'm doing right there. Because if you don't, especially on a slicker surface like this, the pastels won't stay. They'll just rub right off. So, yeah. And when I was starting to hoard art supplies to be able to use with the private practice clients that I never really had an opportunity to do, I spent some of my money to get as many art supplies as I could. So I have the entire set of pan pastels. And I also bought the containers for them. You'll see them in future videos, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know, this image just really, it felt like it needed something very sci-fi looking. And I think you'll probably see that as the image continues. So this is a very mixed media piece. And yeah. Still trying to get used to using the stencils. They do move around a lot if I'm not careful. So yeah, you can see here how I'm trying to do that. And, you know, as I'm layering different colors and materials and stuff, I am trying to follow like the color language of the image. So that's what I'm doing here. And like I said, I really did enjoy making this image a whole bunch. And just a word about using the spray fixatives. Make sure that you are in a well ventilated area when you use it. I had the window behind me open because there are a lot of fumes, and even though I can't smell it anymore, it was choking me up just a little bit. Even though I had a window open and had fans going and stuff, it still, you know, is pretty potent. And I chose this stencil because it just reminded me of, like, I don't know, alien, like an alien alphabet or something. I recently watched Project Male Harry. No, that is not at all what that's called. The phase is fun. Project Hail Mary. There we go. Project Male Harry. Yeah. Male Harry, that's a little different. Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't seen that movie, then I do recommend, because I thought it was just absolutely wonderful. But yeah, I've been thinking about outer space and like aliens and things like that. So I think it shows in this image. And here I chose to use one of the larger stencils because I felt like it just needed something to tie everything together. I liked the individual elements, but it wasn't working together. So I am using just straight mica, and it's the Periwinkle Glow. So it has a beautiful blue kind of color. a shimmer to it. And I knew I was going to use the fixative over the top. So otherwise, just like the pan pastels, it would have just rubbed off. And you'll see that I put things on through the stencils, and I would go in and blend around the edges and stuff, because one thing, this image didn't feel right having like super hard edges. So here you can see that I'm just, toning it down just a little bit. Yeah. And a lot of my pieces, you really need to see them in person to get the full effect of, the different shimmers, or when I put metallics, because you'll see I will do some metallics on this. You get the drift, but you don't really get to see the whole thing. And one thing I like about this workable fixative is it has a little bit of a texture to it. It's not glossy. And oh, here we go. This is the metallic. So this is my gel pen. And for me, this corner is really where like everything is emanating from. It's the beginning of something. The universe, a person, I don't know. But that's the story that started coming to me. And now I just go through the process of adding like, stars, basically. And, some of them have little rays coming out of them. Yeah, so I use the gel pen, and then I'm going to use my Posca, Posca marker, and I will finish with a toothbrush using the Deon silver watercolor ink. And yeah, so this image is getting close to being finished now. So, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and do the sign off as this image finishes. And so this has been Stroke by Stroke. I hope you enjoyed this process. I hope the audio sounds okay. Like I said, I'm still learning. And it was so much fun to make this image. And, I hope you are able to do what makes you happy. And I hope you are able to find grace with yourself and others. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I will see you in the next video. And enjoy.